houses in the village, though.
He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow.
My horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near.
Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year,
He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake.
The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy lake.
the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep.
And miles to go before I sleep.
And miles to go before I sleep.
Oh, everyone was sad because I was leaving, and everyone went to the house, brought their own food, like a potluck, and they were sad. My dad and my mom were sad. Oh, because I was leaving and I was pregnant. No, I wasn't pregnant. I was leaving you there. I think they were sad for you as well, because it was hard to have a baby. I was pregnant with you when he left, and we don't know what life is going to be here. We don't have a house, we don't have a job, so we had to put everything in place first.
Family was sad too. They were sad because they might not see me anymore because I was illegal when they came here. I feel sad because I might not be able to see you for a long time. Because when I came here, I know I will be an illegal. I don't have papers. So I came here as a tourist, but I'm not planning to go back home anymore. So it was kind of tough.
Actually, when I left, I was really very sad. You were 3 months old when we left. And I left you with Mama and Tito Mami. And Daddy would always, when I had you, Daddy would always call and say, "Can you make her cry? Can you make her cry?" I said, "I don't want to. She might not stop. Pinch her, pinch her." After I left, I think you got sick because you were feeling that, I think you had the feeling that we were both gone.
It's like life is much easier here compared to the Philippines, financially and well, it's all about economics. That's why we're here. Here you can, your dreams can come true. We're not going back.
According to my mom, my dad's life in the Philippines was hard because he comes from a farming family. And just like all the young people back then in the 20s and 1930s, they came to the United States to better themselves. But when they got here, especially when my dad got here in the early 1930s, that's when the Depression started and broke out. And when that happened, he decided to join the U.S. Army. And after some training, he and other Filipinos were shipped back to the Philippines to fight against the Japanese army who occupied the Philippines at the time. But I basically don't know when he went to the Philippines during the war. But eventually, when the war ended, he met my mom, and I believe he came back to the United States. I don't know if he came back before I was born or after I was born, but eventually he wanted us to come join his family. Mom was hesitant because she was afraid of the airplane, to get on the plane to join my dad here in the United States.
Growing up, my father wanted us to be Americans. He didn't really tell us much about the Philippines, about about his life in the Philippines. My mother, when we asked our mother, she didn't want to tell us either. She pretty much said, "Why do you want to know?" So we really were just raised as an American. We didn't know the language. I used to recite poems home, and he said, okay, recite the poem. Recite the poem that you learned today. And so it was Robert Frost. It was like, whose woods these are, I think I know, his house is in the village though. He will not see me standing there. And then I stopped because I couldn't remember the line. And my father kept on saying, do it over, do it over. And so I kept on doing it, but I kept on stopping at the same spot, and I couldn't get it. And then all of a sudden, he had a stroke right there and then. He was sitting right next to me. He died, I think, about maybe 6 months later. And for a long time, I thought that it was my fault because I couldn't finish the poem, and he kept on saying, do it over, and I couldn't remember. And the more he said, do it over, the more I couldn't remember. Anyway, I went to the Philippines. My mom just looked at me and she said, kiss the ground. And I looked at her and it was like, for real? And she said, please kiss the ground. And so I kissed the ground. And you should have seen their faces. They just lit up and they were so happy and they hugged me more. And so now I know, it's my motherland, and I was very proud to be a Filipina.
They just don't want to talk to you. Like, you can feel it, even though they put a smile on their face. Yeah, they don't want to talk to you. I don't know if this is because I'm Asian or, my other Malaysian friends also feel that, and we find comfort in the Asian American community instead, because we feel that Asian American community actually tries to talk to you and be able to be open to other perspectives and other cultures. And I think this is because of the culture of the American society, basically. You get kicked out at 18 to live on your own, and you pretty much grow up on your own, being independent and being by yourself. So I guess that could be one of the factors in leading to these kinds of living.
Where you're from, you might be the one who's running things, or you can bring anybody's spell to get what you want. It is easy to ignore trouble when you're living in a bubble. So what are you gonna do when the world don't orbit around you? So what are you gonna do when nobody wants to fool with you? Ain't it fun living in the real